Hari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveda Bhaktivedanta ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Put the cartels back. Yeah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 12, text number 12. You on the board? Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, Sreya hi jnanam abhyasyaj jnanadayanam visasyate danyat karma phala tyagyas tayag cha chanti anantaram Sreyahi jnanam abhyasaj jnanadhyana visasate danyat karma phala tyagyas tegyat chanti anantaram Sreyahi jnanam abhyasaj jnanadhyana visasate dhyanat karma phala tyagyas tegyat chanti anantaram. Everyone try? You try. Sayogi jnanam abhyasaj jnana vivisati. Anyone else want to try? Okay, word for word. Shreya, better. He, certainly. Jnanam, knowledge. Abhyasat, then practice. Jnanasit, jnanat, then knowledge. Dhyanam, meditation. Vishasate is considered better. Dhyanat, then meditation. Karma phala tyag, renunciation of results of fruitive action. Tyagat, by such renunciation. Santi, peace. Anantaram, thereafter. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Manor Prabhupada. If you cannot take to this practice, then engage yourself in the cultivation of knowledge. Better than knowledge, however, is meditation, and better than meditation, renunciation of fruits of action. For by such renunciation, one can attain peace of mind. You can repeat. It's not there. You can repeat, yeah. If you cannot take to this practice, then engage yourself in the cultivation of knowledge. Better than knowledge, however, is meditation. And better than meditation, renunciation of the fruits of action. For by such renunciation, one can attain peace of mind. Srila Prabhupada's purport. As mentioned in the previous verses, there are two kinds of devotional service, the way of regular principles and the way of full attachment in love to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For those who are actually not able to follow the principles of Krishna consciousness, it is better to cultivate knowledge, because by knowledge one can be able to understand his real position. Gradually, knowledge will develop to the point of meditation. By meditation, one can be able to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead by a gradual process. There are processes which make one understand that one himself is the supreme, and that sort of meditation is preferred if one is able to engage in devotional service. If one is not able to meditate in such a way, then there are prescribed duties as enjoined in the Vedic literatures, the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras, which we shall find in the last chapter of Bhagavad Gita. But in all cases, one should give up the result of fruits of labor. This means to employ the result of karma for some good cause. In summary, to reach the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the highest goal, there are two processes. One process is by gradual development, and the other process is direct. Devotional service in Krishna consciousness is a direct method. Another method involves renouncing the fruits of one's activities. Then one comes to the stage of knowledge, then to the stage of meditation, then to the stage of understanding the super soul, and then to the stage of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One may take either the step-by-step process or the direct path. The direct process is not possible for everyone. Therefore, the indirect process is also good. It is, however, to be understood that the indirect process is not recommended for Arjuna because he is already at a stage of loving devotional service to the Supreme Lord. It is for others who are not at this stage. For them, the gradual process of renunciation, knowledge, meditation and realization of the Super Soul and Brahman should be followed. But as far as Bhagavad Gita is concerned, it is a direct method that is stressed. Everyone is advised to take to the direct method and surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. Om Agyanti Mandasya Gana Gana Salakaya Chakshu Milita Mena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapita Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pasaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachayane Nirvishesha Shunivadi Pasta Chayastayane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadada Sivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So So in this world, everyone requires a leader. One cannot progress with one's own strength in any field of activity. There has to be some leader to guide one. In the outside world, everything works on karma. So everything is working on. But in the spiritual life, everything works on blessings. Swati Swami gave a good example of this to show how we have to purify our emotions to come into line of devotional service, to line of devotion to Krishna. So he gave an interesting example. Author Sopana was scribed all day to make out he was a scholar, but within they were being disturbed by emotions. He had a next door neighbor who was a woman. This woman would look in the door to find out his emotions. He got hold of this woman and threw her down the stairs. she had a few injuries. The court ruled that he would have to pay for the rest of the life. This is the woman. He did this irrationally. She died, he wrote in his diary, that bitch has died. The woman had a serious injury, he had to pay every month. So from this example we can learn that jnana yoga locks up emotions in a closet. It does not allow you to express your emotions, because with knowledge one has to ignore emotions and merge into Brahman. Karma yoga alone does not purify the emotions. It gives outlet to emotions, but it does not purify the emotions. Ramanujacharya says there are positive emotions and negative emotions. So one has to avoid the negative emotions and then take positive emotions. Mad dhamma gatra puna janma vidyate. In other words, a devotee of the Lord is guaranteed eternal life. A devotee's old age of disease in the present life is a but impetus for guaranteed eternal life. So, so in the beginning of Krishna consciousness, we are conditioned for many lifetimes. Conditioned nature is very strong. The process of deity worship is recommended for the beginners. So the deity worship helps us to become attached to Krishna by doing the services to the deities, going for Mangalarti, seeing the new outfits of the deity, doing services for the deities like that. We get purified from our emotions. Our attachment to Krishna becomes strong. And the Krishna is not different from the deity. So when you're practicing, you also get realization how Krishna is reciprocating with you. So this deity worship is for beginners. It's for the and then in due course of time, as one makes advancement, then one comes to the pure attachment, ragunuga, spontaneous attachment. And then at that point one gets into chanting more easier. Chanting the holy name becomes much more easier. In the beginning stages, it says chanting holy name has 3 stages. It's got offensive stage, clearing stage, and pure stage. So in the beginning, when one is chanting, all kinds of material desires will come up. So when that happens, conditioned nature will come up, and if one is not very determined and enthusiastic to continue, then one will fall back to the conditioned nature, and he will not be able to carry on in his spiritual practice. So this is why the Narada Muni recommended deity service. The deity worship purifies the heart to the point where your attachment to Krishna becomes strong, to the point where you can chant the holy name all the time. So like in the beginning, when Prabhupada started the Krishna consciousness movement, he introduced the chanting of 64 rounds in America, in New York when he started. And devotees found it difficult, they couldn't do it because so much passion, they were trained to work very hard in life. So the austerity of life wasn't there for them. Like in India, people are used to austerity. You see many yogis, Kumbh Mela, they sit for hours, They couldn't do that. And 64 rounds takes 5-6 hours. So then Prabhupada analyzed everything, the nature of the Western people, and then he could see even for them to do 32 rounds was difficult. Then he said 16 no less. So 16 is manageable. So by this chanting of 16 rounds, one gradually becomes purified from the conditioned nature. And then the attachment to Krishna becomes strong. There's this book, it's called Srila Prabhupada Anugas. It's a nice book. It's all based on Srila Prabhupada's letters, and you can buy it from the shop. So I'm going to read something from here concerning, let's see. So, exemplary personal sadhana and behavior. So, here Prabhupada is emphasizing the importance of having proper behavior and showing good example. Also, emphasis on practicing discipline. So, this is Prabhupada is trying to train his followers in this way to. Because Prabhupada says, in this world everyone requires a leader. Without a good leader, people tend to follow like sheep, and they get lost. So, important to. So even someone asked Prabhupada the question that you written these books, everything in your books, Prabhupada. So how is it that you have to travel everywhere and meet so many different people and devotees? So Prabhupada said, for the intelligent people, they will read the books and they see things properly. For those who are foolish, I have to go and uplift them. Like that. So, so Krishna appears in different forms. He appears as a scripture. He personally appears as a spiritual master. His confidential devotee he sends. And he's also guiding within the heart. So, if one is serious, then there's no guarantee to achieve the goal. Goal is guaranteed. One just has to maintain the purity. And this is also coming down to what association one takes. So, there was an example of Gokishore Babaji Maharaj, how one person, because he was known for his renunciation, that he would take soaked rice or boiled rice. He would take very simple prasad because he used to be chanting holy name all the time. Eat very simple. So someone came to him, some person came to him and he allowed him to serve him. He was serving Gokishore Babaji Maharaj, but then this person was getting some money from Babaji Maharaj and he was giving half to his uncle who was doing Bhagavatam recitation. So when Gokishore Babaji Maharaj found out, he stopped eating the rice. He just started fasting. And all the other people around the area, they became worried. Because Gokishore Babaji Maharaj said, better I commit suicide. I can't eat this person's food. He's not pure. He's not doing pure activities. His heart is contaminated. And then they found out the true incidents and they took that person away. So he says even someone on the higher platform like Gokishore Babaji Maharaj, he didn't compromise. Even Srila Prabhupada never compromised. There were instances where emergencies, he used to allow things to happen for the spreading of the mission of Krishna consciousness, but in the early years, some devotees claim Prabhupada to be Krishna, is equal to Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada had them banned from the ISKCON. He said they have to be banned. And they were sannyasis. So they were banned. And then when they reformed their activity of understanding who Srila Prabhupada was as their spiritual master, then he allowed them to come back. So from now we can see even Prabhupada never compromised. Because even Srila Prabhupada understood. Prabhupada had a good upbringing in his life. He said, I never forgot Krishna in my life. And he had this upbringing that we are just tiny servants of Krishna. We are like Krishna's puppets. So in one of the lectures, Prabhupada explained how he said, I may be the leader of the Hare Krishna movement, but the material world is still going on in its own way. I can't control that. Even Prabhupada could acknowledge that. He said, I'm just controlling what I've been given by Krishna to spread this mission. This is a small, very small compared to the material, what's going on in the material world. So Prabhupada acknowledged this understanding. So this is the difference between an advanced devotee and a beginner. A beginner, he thinks that he wants to take the credit as the doer. But an advanced devotee, he sees himself as Krishna's servant. He doesn't take the credit, he gives his credit to Krishna. So cultivating knowledge is very important because through knowledge, once knowledge is compared to fire, so fire it burns up all the ignorance. So knowledge burns up ignorance. And in this way our conviction of Krishna becomes strong. We get to the point where we can see Krishna within our life, how things are working in the world. There were some stories also showing how in the past, how in America there was one person, he was going to commit suicide. And this story shows how everything depends on mercy, because this person was fed up with the world. Something happened in his family, and so a devotee went to his car and he threw a Krishna book inside. So the person, he read the Krishna book and he thought, let me read this book before I commit suicide. So he read the Krishna book. Then he did change his mind. His mindset changed. So he went to one of the ISKCON temples and then he became temple president. So that shows what knowledge does. Through knowledge, he changes views. He changes understanding on the purpose of life. And the other thing is, a beginner, he identifies with the body too much. He thinks he's the body. And the advanced devotee doesn't identify with the body. He understands he's his soul. He's part and parcel of Krishna. So that's what Prabhupada emphasized in his lectures also. He emphasizes important point that we should understand we are not the body. Until we understand we are not the body, our spiritual life hasn't begun. So, and as soon as we identify with the body, then ignorance comes in. So this is why sadhana is important. Early rising in the morning is so important. For those who are aspiring to become advanced in spiritual life, there's no compromise. They have to get up early in the morning. So, Srila Prabhupada showed the example. Jai Shri Radha Gokulananda ki Jai. So Srila Prabhupada showed the example, like he was sleeping at 10 o'clock at night and getting up 1 in the morning to write his books. Then he sleep one hour during the day or something. And so Prabhupada told his disciple, he said, the latest you should rise by is 4 o'clock. The Brahma Muhurta hours are the best for spiritual advancement. And because in these hours, the chanting becomes very fast. Everything you do becomes very fast. So he says, the best time to chant the holy name is between 2 and 4 in the morning. The second best is between 5 and 7. After that you struggle. Because those morning hours are the best. That's like all businesses have their special hours where they give their time out to people, isn't it? So Krishna also has a special time where he gives mercy out. So these Brahma Muhurta hours are the best times. And if you can practice like that, then spiritual life, you're flying. You make fast advancement. So in order to come to that platform, we have to overcome the modes of passion and ignorance. We have to strive to come to the mode of goodness. If one maintains passion and ignorance, advancing in spiritual life becomes very difficult. This is why it's important to have a spiritual master. You have to have a spiritual guide to help you in your spiritual life. So, having someone to help you will help you to become disciplined. They will point out your weak points and help you to become strong. Like in these letters, Prabhupada is saying, says here, Lord Krishna shares fascinating insights on human behavioral psychology in Bhagavad Gita 3.20, where he states that common masses have a tendency to emulate the example set by leaders. Somehow people rely more on the example set by leaders than that on visible evidence of logical reasoning for arriving at choices in the present personal lives. Thus the leaders of society have a great responsibility of setting the right standard for the general populace. This is all the more true for spiritual or faith-based society as ours, where people voluntarily come, especially being attracted by seeing genuine practitioners of profound philosophy. Deviations from the sacred standards as set in the scriptures might disrupt the tender faith of seekers coming to the path. The Supreme Lord is the supreme leader of all living entities, Nityo Nityanam Chetananam, and he has personally set the ideal example in his incarnation as Lord Krishna and Lord Ram. Whenever names of ideal leaders are recounted, the list begins with the names of Lord Ramachandra, and probably that is the reason why his rule is recognized as Ram Raj. Speaks of the qualities of Lord Ram, which qualify him as the ideal leader. Lord Ramachandra took a vow to accept only one wife and have no connection with any other women. He was saintly king, and everything in his character was good, untinged by qualities like anger. He taught good behavior for everyone, especially for householders in terms of varnashram dharma. Thus he taught the general public by his personal activities. Similarly, 17th chapter of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam describes Examine daily activities of Lord Krishna. In the early hours of the morning, Lord Krishna would rise from bed and bathe himself in clear water. After executing the dawn rituals and other religious duties, he would offer obligations into the sacred fire, chant Gayatri Mantra, worship and pay tribute to the demigods, sages and forefathers, and offer respects to learned brahmanas. Then he would touch auspicious substances, decorate himself with celestial ornaments, and gratify his subjects by giving them whatever they desired. Thus Lord Ram and Lord Krishna have demonstrated the ideal behavior of a leader. For a spiritual leader, the ideal example begins with one's sincere application to spiritual practices. One cannot give to others what one does not have in his first place. Therefore, it is very essential for devotees to nourish themselves sufficiently while they reach out to others with the mercy and message of Lord Chaitanya. In the following passages, let us try to deconstruct the personality of an ideal leader in terms of her exemplary behavior and qualities as evidenced instructed by Srila Prabhupada for his followers. People in general always require a leader who can teach the public by practical behavior. Leader cannot teach the public to stop smoking if he himself smokes. Lord Chaitanya said that a teacher should behave properly before he begins to teaching. One who teaches in that way is called an acharya or an ideal leader. Therefore, a teacher must follow the principles of Shastra, scripture, to teach the common man. The teacher cannot manufacture rules against the principles of revealed scriptures. The king or the executive head of a state, the father and the school teacher are all considered to be natural leaders of the innocent people in general. All such natural leaders have a great responsibility to the dependents. Therefore, they must be conversant with standard books of moral and spiritual codes. This is from Purport Bhagavad Gita 3.21. Yes, GBC members, your task is very responsible. You must always keep yourself pure, and in this way your preaching will take effect. Letter to Krishna Das. So as president, now you will be forced to advance in Krishna consciousness because you must always set the higher example yourself. And I think that this is Krishna's special favoring you. Try to always see the highest purity is maintained in all respects. Become yourself very convinced of this Krishna philosophy. Be always preaching and trying to understand some basic points from different angles of vision. Keep the devotees in your temple always satisfied and jolly, and that will be your success. Letter to Hidayananda. As GBC, you should see the standard is perfectly maintained and that deity worship is perfectly done. Then Krishna will give us all protection. Neglecting the principle means neglecting Krishna's order. So you are one of the chief men of this institution. Kindly maintain your behavior to the standard so that others will follow and the whole thing may go on nicely. It was said about Lord Chaitanya, Apani Chane Prabha Jivane Shakaya, that he is personally used to practice himself injunctions and then he used to teach others. This is our principle. Unless one is perfectly behaved person, he cannot teach others. My only request is that all the GBC members should be strictly to the standard of life and see that others are also following them. Then our centers will be well managed. Kindly do that and advise your co-workers to do that. Like it to Haygriva. So we can see from these letters how Prabhupada is emphasizing the example one should follow and maintaining purity. So in spiritual life, there is one other consideration is also there, that as one is advancing, if he's meant to go to a higher step, he should take the higher step. Because spiritual life means like going on a ladder. On a ladder, you can't stay on the same step all the time. You either go up or down. So spiritual life is like that also. You have to go up or you go down. You can't stay on the same stage all the time. So and for someone who is advancing in spiritual life, Krishna is very merciful that he gives him a high position. He puts him on a position like a judge. Now the example Srila Prabhupada gives, to be a judge, it takes a long time to get that post. You have to do law degrees and it's not so easy to get that post. But for a devotee, Krishna puts a devotee in that position of a judge on a high position, then he qualifies him for that position. So as long as the devotee is aspiring to maintain his purity, he is maintaining good behavior, good character, then Krishna gives him the mercy to come to the high platform very quickly. Only thing is, one has to be serious and sincere. So, it says in spiritual life, it's like a razor's edge. So if we are not careful, we can easily slip. So it's like when you're shaving, you're not careful, you can cut yourself. So spiritual life is also like that. So another thing one has to be careful of, not being duplicitous. Because Bhaktivedanta Thakur explains that the lame can chant the holy name, the weak can chant the holy name, disabled can chant the holy name, the strong can chant the holy name, intelligent can chant the holy name, but those who are duplicitous, they cannot chant the holy name. So we have to be sincere. And then like I explained in the beginning of the class, overcoming the bodily platform is very important because there's a quote by Bhaktivedanta Thakur. He explains that if we can conquer three things, women, wealth and fame, we can conquer the world. And we can see Krishna within everything. We can see how Krishna is acting within this world. So Prabhupada explains this term of woman. He says the bodily platform. So if a woman thinks she's not the body, then she's advanced. So even for a man, if he thinks he's the body, he's not advanced. So we have to go on the bodily platform and realize that we are Krishna's servants. Because on the higher platform, we are all female. Krishna is the supreme male. So we have to understand this, then things will work out nicely for everybody. And there's a saying in English, they say, survival of the fittest. But who survives in the material world? Everyone dies. But this applies spiritually. As you advance spiritually, then you become stronger and you survive. You become stronger, and the other things don't matter so much because you understand you're not part of this world. You don't belong here. And by your practicing spiritual life, you already entered the spiritual world. It's just time is separating it from you leaving the body. That's it. So this is how the term survival of the fittest applies. Any comments or questions? Maha mantra. Yes, seeing the deities is helpful because it purifies your consciousness. Until someone got the higher taste of chanting the holy name, seeing the deities is very important. Because then you meditate on the outfits of what Krishna is wearing, new dress and everything, and you become cleansed of your contamination. It's like Srila Prabhupada in one of the letters, he explained how simply by chanting Hare Krishna one can achieve perfection. But then Prabhupada explained in this point, he said the point of having a spiritual master taking initiation is there because we are in the material body, we get affected by contamination. So having a spiritual master helps us free from that contamination. Like that. So seeing the deities helps us free from the contamination of the bodily platform. Keeps us pure in our consciousness. So, Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur explained a quote. He said, interesting quote, he said, for those who are advanced in spiritual life, and the following line of Prahlad Maharaj, they worship the deity 24 hours in their hearts by chanting the holy name. But neophytes cannot understand this approach of deity worship. So Prabhupada, he harmonized everything. He could understand, devotees are not on that platform. So he said both are important, deity worship and chanting the holy name. So in his lecture on deity worship, Prabhupada explained that to chant the holy name, two things are required. One has to be free from sense gratification, and one has to avoid the 10 offenses to the holy name. Then one can chant the holy name in a deep way. One can enter chanting the holy name. But that platform is not easy to come to for beginners. So that's the deity worship is there. You get purified from that sense gratification tendency, and in association with devotees you are protected. And then in time you get the higher taste. Then you can go into the chanting like that. It's a gradual process from Vaidhi to Raganuga, like that. Okay, any other questions, comments? No. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Hare Krishna. Let's see what happens.
You sing Gorardi? Prabhuji. Gorardi? Yeah, thank you. More Prabhuji. Then more. Up. Okay, you can see. Hare Krishna. I'm meeting so. Roji, very good. Up. Yeah, but up, up. More. Oh, great. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Panchatanvishatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasade Gaura Bhaktavedanta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, कि बजयो जयो गौरा चांदेर आरती कसो बाकी बजायो कि बजायो चांदेर आरती कसो बाकी जानवे तटवने जगमन लोभा जानवे तटवने जगमन लोभा कि बदक्षिण नेताय चांद बामे गदाधर कि बदक्षिण नेताय चांद बामे गदाधर निकटे अद्वैत श्रीनि वास छत्रधार निकटे अद्वैत श्रीनि वास छत्रधार के बाबा से आछे गौरा चांद रत्ना सिंहासन के बाबा से गौरा चांद रत्ना सिंहासन आरती करना ब्रह्मा आदि देवगण आरती करना ब्रह्मा आदि देवगण नार हरे आदि कोरे चामर दुलाया
Nara